All right, so if you follow Alex Becker around the crypto world and you're trying to get a piece of that next 100x play, honestly, I'm very excited that you found this video because I want to show you exactly what's going on behind the scenes in the KOL world, how these deals take place, and how to move yourself up the food chain so you can become as early as possible into these cryptos and not wait until they're shilled to the mainstream normies who are only going to get a 2x at maximum and then get absolutely dumped on. And also in this video, I'm going to be mentioning a couple of very interesting tokens. So stay tuned, hit that like button below. Let's jump in without the fluff. Let's pull back that curtain and see what the hell is going on behind it, because honestly, behind that curtain is not what you think is happening. A lot of people think Alex Becker is literally going out there, scoping out different projects, reaching out to founders, taking interviews, and being like, oh, this is really good tech. This could be a next billion-dollar company. He'll reply tweet them on Twitter, and people were like, oh, that is going to be a massive thing. When in reality, it's a bunch of small and new projects that are really risky, reaching out to Becker with very large paychecks, being like, hey, Becker, you want to reply to our tweet for a six-figure sum? And Becker, kind of surprisingly, recently he's become more and more degenerate, which is not a bad thing. It's higher risk, which means high return, but also a lot more chance to lose money if you don't know what you're doing. But he's like, yeah, I'll take on most of these projects, which we'll get into specifics in just a second. But I want you to understand this bird's eye overview of this beautiful rocket graphic, because if this can get locked into your brain and you're trading crypto out there, you're going to understand it on a much more fundamental level. So think of these rockets down here as new crypto projects. And every single new crypto project is trying to reach escape velocity. They're trying to get propelled up here into the nine figures and be worth $100 million plus. But most of them won't make it. And I ask you, a little bit of a dynamic video, a little engagement from you. What do you think determines if one of these rockets or cryptos launch into that $100 million level or just fizzle out, say at that $3 to $5 million market cap level? Well, in my opinion, and what we do here on this channel, is it's which influences are behind them, how powerful are those influences, and how much energy are those influences putting into promoting those tokens. Put way more simply, it's how big is the influence of the promoter of that token, or promoters. You know, they'll have 5 to 10 influencers on each token. If you have someone like Donald Trump, you see he pumped his token to a $70 billion market cap. That is not 100x, that is a 10,000x on our money, and that is retiring on a beach wherever the hell you want in the world. Someone like Alex Becker, especially when he channels and focuses his energy, if he's taking on a little too many projects, it's going to get less and less powerful. But at the moment, he's got to be a top 3 to top 5 influencer when he promotes and shields a project. Then you move down, you can see this is Nos. Obviously, you know Nos from Fast and the Furious, when the car's losing the race and all of a sudden, zoom, skyrockets into first and wins the trophy and the girl. This is Nos in the rocket crypto sense. It's like how much Nos, how much thrust, how much propellant is in that rocket ship, and therefore how far is your rocket / token going to travel. Now, this is what I want to introduce you to. This is sort of a new theory that I can feel, and this is how I trade, and I want to make sure this is translated to you and updated in your software so you can make better decisions. The further down this spectrum you go, this is Crypto Guy John, who's probably a medium to large size fish, finds tokens really early, but can't pump them as much. As we go down this spectrum of Nos, that becomes more and more true. So someone like Crypto Zach LA absolutely crushed the Pinlink call, but doesn't have as much influence as these later and bigger cans of Nos, or bigger influencers. This guy called Jimbo, who's showed us a nice 40x this week, and I'm going to talk about Jimbo in this video, does not have a massive influence, but he is very, very early in the news cycle because he's actually part of the partnership programs of a lot of these projects. And so this is the graph of Pinlink. A lot of projects that do really well like Pinlink literally will time their influencer and their KOL promotions to be bigger and bigger. So it's like a snowball that is rolling downhill, cascading and pick up more and more momentum on the way, all the way until it hits a mainstream narrative. This is still Pinlink. You can see Zach was first, we were second, Becca third, John fourth, Miles fifth, and then it really just became a mainstream token. When you think RWA, Pinlink is one of the first tokens there, and it reached that escape velocity. However, this is not always the way it happens. And in this example, Alex Becker was one of the first people to shield this token, which it didn't do bad. Went from an 8 mil temporarily up to a 16 mil, so a nice 2x if you can time that perfect wick, which is hard to. and then absolutely dropped off a cliff because it didn't get that momentum. It didn't have enough NOS to excel it into escape velocity. There's also one more factor, which I will mention now, actually, so it doesn't get confusing. Fear and greed index. The greedier the market is, the more success that the market has had recently, the easier it is for these projects to absolutely fly. I remember in the last, probably about 3 months ago, there's this small influencer, probably had 3,000 followers, and he would promote a token and he would pump it $30 million just because the market was so hot at that time. So that is something you also have to take into account. Now, let me show you this token that did well over the last week and exactly why using the philosophy we just broke down. Well, this is QAI. I believe this is how it's pronounced. Could be Q3, but I think that'd be a silly thing if it was. So we're going to change it if it is to QAI. What did they do, you ask? Well, on this channel, we're getting less and less interested on what these tokens do because that has nothing to do with, very little, should I say, to do with how high they propel into the stratosphere. However, what you do need to know is Q is a new project with AI agents and something about quantum secure MCP servers. Again, technical. People do not care when they invest into this token, and therefore I'm literally going to be caring less and less on this channel just to feel more honest about what's actually going on in the crypto world. This, however, is the graph of QAI. Now, don't be running and buying this. Do your own research because Alex Becker has, in fact, already shielded it. So you're not early in the case of what's been going on over the last 2 months. It has already hit a 20 mil market cap. It's pulled back to 11. Alex Becker has shielded it. In fact, let's have a look at that. This was Alex Becker's shield right here. Investors said Q to kick off ETH utility season time for the next $100 million play. That's what we're all looking for, those massive gains. Alex Becker did this, I think it's like the son of a bitch I'm in meme, although this one doesn't have the actual text on it. He's done this in the past with Cheyenne, and there's a couple of others that literally this one reply tweet propelled them into the $100 million market cap level. So you can really feel out the market difference that this propelled them to the 20 mil market cap level. I've put it here on for you. Took it from an 8 mil market cap to that 20 mil market cap. However, guess what? This beautifully designed new upgraded R for Across the Rubicon. This is our new whale tracker. And of course, if you're inside our inner circle, which I've been telling you to get inside all week, you'll see that we put out this alert because we're doing something that we weren't doing just a couple of months ago. We're now being able to not only shake hands with the partnership programs of these tokens, because we are a small to medium sized KOL, we can get allocations just like these other KOLs and therefore get the inside information and share it with you guys. But we also can track the deployer wallets of these tokens, which is a new strategy that honestly has already paid off, building out the blockchain detectives and the software to be able to pick these up. You can see we wrote that there was a brand new Alex Becker project. And again, don't be rushing to buy this, guys. This did go up this week. If you want to get in after you do your own research, sure. But I also have another play for you at the end of this video, which is way more risky, but could be earlier in its life cycle. I'll tell you about that in just a second. We wrote inside our whale tracker Q as a brand new AI token that has been transferred into one of the wallets in Alex Becker's web. We track over 28 Alex Becker wallets inside our inner circle that we are tracking. Currently only a smaller amount, but it's a microcap project with under a $10 million market cap. And this got sent out here at about a $5 million market cap. Incredible. Congratulations to everyone inside the inner circle. If you're not in it, link in the description below if you want to tap into our influence and tap into the software and tools that we've built to help move you up that news cycle. However, you may also think, wait a second, who's this shadowy figure down here who saw this at a $500,000 level? Well, this guy's name is Jimbo. Jimbo Trading on Twitter. He actually sent us this at a $500,000 market cap. We were actually aware of this at a $500,000 market cap, but this is sort of what I wanted to make this video about. When people like Alex Becker, or even say Donald Trump just said he's pro Bitcoin. He said, never sell your Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital gold. Fantastic. Bitcoin is now a legit digital asset. And the US is in fact holding it themselves, which is probably one of the safest things that you could possibly have in a token. However, Bitcoin's at a $2 trillion market cap. You already missed most of the upside on that. Same as Alex Becker. Once he signs off, Alex Becker is now part of this token. It flies because it gives it that safety that you need in a bigger influencer and that social insurance that it needs. However, when you come across someone like Jimbo, you get way less of the safety of is it a good token, but you get way higher reward if it is a good token. And honestly, this was a fantastic call by Jimbo, who literally hit a 40x since messaging us this token. He also was a part of Vert AI. This is Vert AI, where he's commenting on it under a $2 million market cap. And if you remember Vert AI, guys, it went on to a $120 million market cap. So Jimbo has some inside knowledge. We're going to be continuing to talk to Jimbo, look at Jimbo's wallets, look at Jimbo's trades, and see if we can get some alpha for ourselves and for you guys with our partnership with Jimbo. Jimbo Trading on Twitter if you also want to come and follow him. But this QAI project now is even more legitimate because Elio Trades, who is a big dog in the crypto world, came and gave them the follow on Twitter. But you can see now it's still over a $10 million market cap. So it's a very interesting spectrum of trade-off where if there isn't a big influencer behind them already, it's a massive risk, but also massive reward if it works. And if there is, it's way lower risk and way lower reward. So you want to figure out for yourself, where do you want to board these rockets? Do you want to board them at the $3 to $5 million level before big influencers are on? Or do you want to wait until they're up to that $10, $15, $20 million level and they've got Alex Becker's tick of approval? Because I have one for you. I'm still trying to figure out how to get this information to you the best way possible, but we have a degenerate play if you'd like to take it. This is actually a token that has partnered with us because we're out there literally shaking hands as a small to medium KOL, trying to figure out who else is making these deals. And on this project, there's quite a few people making the deals, even though it's still in this lower range of a sub $5 million level. The project is called AIAF, and they say they're building the future of AI ownership, which, according to their website, allow you to build up your own AI agents. Now, once again, go and figure out what this project does if you want to dive deeper into that. Honestly, to be as congruent as possible, I like to partner with projects and I like to buy projects that you know you're earlier than everybody else on. That is the biggest factor on will that rocket reach the stratosphere or will it just fizzle out in its little rocket holder on Earth. And at the moment, we've got these smaller fish on board. So you can see Keto from Wealth Group say, I see a lot of Chads mentioning AIAF. Keeping my eyes out on this new launch, looks like a runner. And then one of his friends, also part of the Wealth Group, who are tightly connected to Crypto God John, who is a medium to large size fish, Drew says, recent additions that I believe will perform extremely well. I'll drop some depth on each of these throughout the week. He said AIAF, AI Agent Factory. Now, people like Drew in the past have always led people like Alex Becker. Alex Becker is not, in my opinion, out there doing crazy, scrupulous research into these projects. He waits for the smaller fish to pick them up himself and handball him a very large bag of money to also jump on board. You can see this happen with Spect, which is a recent Alex Becker play. You can see he's mentioned it here on the comments. And this also happened with Hash AI. People like Drew are up the newsfeed from Alex Becker, way riskier, but also way higher upside if Becker does jump on board. They've also got this guy here, Crypto Fella, and partnering this project, we know that they have a really decent KOL budget. Crypto Fella has 105,000 followers on Twitter, and they've partnered with this man here, Superman, who I used to know back from the Udemy days, 155,000 subscribers. His videos do well. You can see this is him talking about it just a couple of hours ago. At the moment, AI Agent Factory is still sitting at a $333 million market cap. And to be totally transparent, might sit there for a while and never be picked up by some of the big dogs in the industry. But if it is, this could be your opportunity to get in before they do. And right now we're operating with basically a headwind. But when the tailwind comes, because I've shown you this graph quite a bit, this is the interest in Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin in 2017, when it topped out at about $20,000, it had the most interest ever. Then in the next bull market, Bitcoin topped out at $68,000, somewhere there. It had 2/3 of the interest as that first market. Right now, Bitcoin's 5% away from its all-time high, and its demand, the interest in crypto, is still 1/5 of its all-time high. This is expected to absolutely explode as the fourth leg of this super cycle takes off. And that would give all of these crypto plays, all the AI agents, all the memes that I talked about in yesterday's video, absolute crazy rocket fuel and a huge tailwind to propel them into the stratosphere. And so if you want to get the inside edge to be able to move yourself up the news feed as high as possible, like this week, we literally had this nice 4x runner where we alerted you that Alex Becker received funds because we tracked the deployer wallets. We did this last time. There was a huge tailwind and gave you a 10x. It's actually turned into a 14x on Pinlink. And as I talk about here on this channel, the late runners is where we're going to make most of our money. Once the tailwind comes, once there are trillions of dollars flying around this market from people who have no idea what they're doing, but you were here early and you know the narratives and you know the plays, and everyone is just so greedy, you'll be able to find the next Altura, which you can see here. Axie Infinity ran months before Altura. These were both gaming tokens in the gaming bull run. But what happens once the niche is validated, then you're going to get these crazy runners. Literally something like an AI agent factory. If this was peak bull market, a $3 million is where they start. They finish up at a $70 million market cap. Within days, things move crazy quickly, which honestly, that's when we may want to be starting to take money off the table. But we do this inside our inner circle by tracking wallets, giving you buy alerts when big influencers buy or sell tokens when they're getting out. In fact, Alex Becker has been selling some of his tokens recently. New video dropping on that probably tomorrow or the next day. So do hit subscribe to know which ones he's selling and which ones he's keeping. We track their portfolios and we track their Twitters for their replies and any new tokens that are coming on their radar. So you can move yourself up the news feed as far as possible. Jump in now because you don't want to do it at the peak of the market before everything crashes. You want to do it when opportunities are the ripest, and which, in my opinion, is right now. So I'd love to see you on the inside. Link in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.